Welcome to the True Demon Lord show. I am the True Demon Lord Franco, and today we're going to be doing our Plague Legion deep dive. So, just like we did with the Legion of Exes and the Scintillating Legion, we're going to be going in, looking at the detachment rule, the enhancements, the stratagems, and giving you some advice and tips on using them all. My opinions on the detachment as a whole, and look at some key units. So, like we have done, if you watch the Legion of Excess Part 1 or the Scintillating Legion Part 1 deep dives, you'll kind of know now how this is going to go. We will have a Part 2, which will be member exclusive, where we give you proper tactical demonstrations on using enhancements and stratagems, using actual demonstrations, and showing you how to best get uses out of them. Now, I will be picking certain stratagems or certain enhancements or even certain detachment abilities and doing individual videos which will be available to everyone eventually. Like Thieves of Pain, that's one I really want to do because that gets a lot of questions across the board. But for now, we are looking at the deep dives. So let's get into it. The Plague Legion. The detachment rule is melancholic miasma. So very interesting. I think a lot of people at first were quite disappointed because I think they were expecting feel no pains or -1 damage or something like that. I actually really like this. I don't know why. I just really, really like it. I think it's quite underrated. So basically, all of your Nurgle units in this detachment have a 9-inch aura of Shadow of Chaos that only affects your opponents. So, while any of your opponent's units within 9 inches of a Nurgle unit, they're within your army Shadow of Chaos. That gives you really good range for that. Now, there isn't really any benefits to you being in the shadows apart from you getting better battle shocks. So that's you don't care about this only affecting your opponent, but your opponent obviously will take battle shocks. Like in multiple different ways because it is detachment. You can also take other units that can force your opponent to take battle shocks, but also on top of that, when they do take battle shocks, they're going to be more likely in your Shadow of Chaos because of you having this 9-inch bubble around all of your Nurgle units. In addition to that, once per command phase, that is both your command phase and your opponent's command phase, you pick an enemy unit that's currently in your Shadow of Chaos, and they have to take a battle shock test. Now, again, with that 9-inch bubble around all your Nurgle units, you're going to have a lot of options here. Like this is where you take a lot of Nurglings, like big 6-man units of Nurglings, multiple of them, forward deploy them, just send them forward like you would with a normal Nurgle list anyway. And you lock your opponent down. Obviously, if you go first, you have to be at least over 9 inches away, so you ain't gonna be able to do this in your turn 1. But if you go second, your opponent comes towards your Nurglings, then you will be able to, and then you're essentially kind of setting yourself up to just be able to go battle shock, battle shock, battle shock. And then I think this detachment also wants quite a lot of Plague Bearers, so your Nurglings kind of first wave in, lock things down, Plague Bearers surge up, and then you can just start really hammering down with this with these Shadow Warriors, and then just battle shock, battle shock, battle shock. And the idea is you're just trying to basically make your opponent's units almost useless. Like they can't use stratagems on them, they have OC0, and being able to do this in your opponent's command phase is pretty big because if you've got some units nearby, or you've just got the shadows anyway and they've got a unit on an objective in the middle, you proc this, you might have the chance to battle shock them, and then they don't gain primary because either now the one unit that was on that objective is OC0, or they've lost a unit out of multiple that they have on an objective, and you've also got say you've got 8 Plague Bearers on an objective, and they've got 5 OC3 models on an objective and 3 OC2 models, and you battle shot the OC3 unit. Now those OC2 models won't be able to have more OC than your Plague Bearers. They lose the objective, they lose primary. It's just really big, and it's a very good kind of denial ability, which I love. So, enhancement wise, the first one we have is the Clank of Blight. Actually, I was a bit harsh on the Clank of Blight to start with, but the more I've looked into it, the more I've tested it, and the more I see other people talking about it, I actually do really like it. So basically, the Canker Blight is whenever your opponent, or whenever an enemy unit fails a battle shock test within 6 inches of the bearer, You can choose to proc or choose to activate your ability. So you can use this anytime your opponent fails battle shock tests within 6 inches, not just once. So if your opponent fails 3 battle shock tests in one phase while within 6 of the bearer, you can activate it 3 times. As long as the enemy unit isn't a monster or vehicle, and instead of taking mortal wounds for failing while in your Shadow of Chaos, that unit will instead lose 1 model. So this is really good on things like Custodes, because again, like T6, 3 wounds, 2 up armor, 4 up invuln, boom, just kill 1 dead. Good on Chosen, Wraithguard, pretty good on things like Beast and Nurgle, which can be a pain in the butt to get rid of. You just go, cool, just die. So this is really, really good. And this is very good on Sloppity Piper, because his ability, or one of his abilities, is in the fight phase, all enemy units within 6 inches of him have to take a battle shock test. Now, if he's got this on, say you've plonked him right in the middle of, say, 3 enemy units. So now all 3 of them have to take a battle shock test. They're going to be at -1 because they're going to be within 9 inches of Nurgle units at that point. So they're going to be in your Shadow of Chaos. And then if you've got a Poxbringer nearby, he's got a -1 battle shock test 6-inch aura as well. So that'll be -2. And then every time they're failing, you're just going, cool, dead model, dead model, dead model. Now you don't have to activate this. So if you're going up, if you're doing this on, or if a unit that is full of like 1-win models is going to fail, you don't have to, you can choose to not proc it, because if a unit of 10 guys with 1 wound each fails a battle shock test in your shadows, you're going to take the D3 mortal wounds because you have a chance to kill 2 or 3 of them instead of just 1. But if it's a unit with 2 or more wounds per model, then actually this is pretty good. Especially with the speed you can get Plague Bearers. We'll get to a stratagem soon where you can make Plague Bearers move faster. The Bile Piper makes his unit move an extra inch. So yeah, he's just a really good like candidate to put this on. Same with Foxbringer, like we already said, it goes quite well with -1 battle shock aura. But of course, the Bile Piper is actually proccing battle shocks, where he's just giving you the -1 aura, and this only procs, or this only happens or comes into effect when your opponent is failing battle shocks. So it probably goes best on the Bile Piper, but the Foxbringer is not a bad option to put it on either. But I think you're always going to take at least 1 Bile Piper in a Nurgle list or in a Plague Legion list, and I think he just instantly gets this. That makes him, I think is he 55 point standards? That makes him 70 points. I think that's pretty good for what he does. Next we've got the Maggot Maws. I don't rate this. I don't really like this that much. So in the shooting phase, you can select 1 enemy unit within 6 inches of the bearer, and that unit immediately has to take a battle shock test. Now, of course, they're going to be within 9 inches of that Nurgle unit, so therefore they're going to be in the shadow, so they'll be at -1. And then you roll a dice. On a 3+, that enemy unit will suffer D3 mortal wounds. Now, they don't take the normal mortals from failing a battle shock in the shadows. So the thing with this is they have to take a battle shock test. So they might pass it, they might fail it, but though you don't automatically do D3 mortal wounds if you fail, you can actually do it if they pass. So if they pass the battle shock test, you still can do D3 mortal wounds if you roll a 3 or better. But you just don't automatically do it if they fail. So this is a nice way to ensure more mortals going on. But I think if you're going to have 2 or more non-Roticus monsters, which you probably will have 2 ground clean ones, or a ground clean one and a Demon Prince on foot, and then you're going to have the Bile Piper, that's probably going to be your 3 enhancements gone, because Clinkerbite's pretty good. The next 2 we're going to come up to are pretty good. And this is just meh. It's basically a way to try and guarantee, not guarantee because you have to roll a 3+, but you can cause mortal wounds on a unit even if they pass the battle shot test. It's just not very good, but it can go okay on Poxbringers, Bile Pipers, and Scriveners. I think it goes best on a Poxbringer at the little units because, again, the -1 battle shock 6-inch aura. If they're within 6 for this, they're within 6 of that. So now they're -1 for being in your shadows, -1 for being within 6 of a Poxbringer. So they have more chance to fail the battle shock test. It's just another way to proc more battle shocks. And then the mortals is bonus, maybe. It's not bad on a ground claim one either, but there are just two options coming up that are just better. Speaking of which, we have the droning shout, the droning shroud. There we go. For 35 points, it's pricey, but it's really good. You basically turn a Nurgle monster into Be'lakor, so it gives you a 6-inch aura of basically line operative 18. So any of your Nurgle units within 6 inches of the bearer can only be targeted by range attacks from your opponent if the attacking unit is within 18 inches. Or if the attacking model, sorry, is within 18 inches, because it procs model by model, not unit by unit. It's Reefed in Shades from Be'lakor. It's exactly the same, except it only affects Nurgle stuff, and it can only go on a Nurgle monster. Of course, Great and Clean ones, this is good on, you know, because within 6 inches of a Great and Clean one, they'll be, untargetable from over 18 inches away. But if your opponent is within 18 inches, then you're getting 6 up for no pain. I actually really like it on a Nurgle Demon Prince on foot, because that guy's got the stealth aura, so again, you're -1 to hit if you're within 6 inches of him, and it isn't just Nurgle stuff, obviously, with that, because that's an undivided aura. But your units within 6 inches of him have stealth, so they're -1 to hit against shooting. He can proc a once per game invulnerable, 3-up invulnerable save, so that can make him quite tough if your opponent wants to try and shoot at him, and then also keeping your stuff safe from outside of 18 inches. So it's quite cool. I still think it's probably better on the Great Clean one just because they are tougher. But also, it's just quite cool if you want the Demon Prince. I mean, it doesn't make him much cheaper than a Great and Clean one. I think they are about 40 points cheaper, standard. So do you want to spend the extra 40 points, get an extra 2 points or sorry, an extra 1 point of toughness and an extra 10 wounds with a 6-up for no pain? Probably, probably, but it's really good. If you're going to take a Nurgle list, you probably haven't got unclean ones anyway. The Droning Shroud, I just think, is like an auto take. And then last of the enhancements, we have the Font of Spores, and I again like this. So again, it can only go on a Nurgle monster, and it's a 6-inch aura of +1 AP for weapons equipped by Nurgle Demon units within 6 inches. And it's not just range combat weapons, it's range weapons as well. So this goes quite nice on Nurgle Soul Grinders, makes them -2. It's a good way to try and ignore cover. Or like, when they're firing out line of sight with Phlegm Bombardment. But also making your play bearers AP -2, making your Great Unclean ones AP -3. In combat and shooting, pretty good. D6 +3 flamer shots that are strength 5 -3 1 damage. Oh, it's actually pretty good. So yeah, Font of Spores is solid. It's very good on a Great and Clean one. Like I said, it's very good to make them just better. AP3 in combat, AP3 on shooting. And again, also just a tough body, toughness 12, 4-up invuln, 20 wounds, 6-up for no pain. It's not bad on a winged Demon Prince either, because he's going to be surging up 12 inches. He's already pretty decent in combat. This now makes him AP -3 in combat, makes his shooting -2, but he can keep up with like other Nurgle units if you want to like send like waves of combat in. But I still think it's probably better on a Great and Clean one because again, tougher, and he just maybe benefits a little bit more from it. But if you don't want to take the Great and Clean one and you want to take a Winged Demon Prince, because he will be about 200 points compared to 250, so 50 points cheaper. But yeah, it's Font of Spores again is just really, really solid. When I think you're going to be taking a lot of Plague Bearers anyway, so this just makes your Plague Bearers, they're already hitting 3s with lethals. You can be critting on 5s to hit with a strat, which we'll get to in a minute, or with a Pot Springer, so you're lethaling on 5s instead of 6s. You can get sustained in addition to your lethal with a Small Pot Scrivener. You're at, strength 4 -2. Ratagus can make them +1 damage, so -2, -2 damage. You can reroll wounds with Plague Drone, so you just start stacking all these modifiers and these buffs on, and all of a sudden, 10 Plague Bearers are just cutting through like a lot of things in the game. So it's pretty good. And then moving on to stratagems, we've got Seeping Virulence, which is what we were just talking about. It's only in fight phase when one of your Nurgle units like makes attacks, they score a critical hit on a roll of a 5+. So pretty much everything Nurgle, apart from I think Beasts on Nurgle don't have it, and obviously the Soul Grinders don't. But Plague Bearers do, Nurglings do, your characters do, Grand Cleamons, Rotigus have lethal hits. So now they're scoring those on fives instead of sixes to hit. This goes really, really good on a unit of Plague Bearers that has a Spellpot Scrivener in it, because the Spellpot Scrivener gives you sustained hits one. So now you're getting sustained hits one and lethal hits on rolls of 5+ to hit. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then it goes very, very good when Rotigus is, when your unit is targeting the unit Rotigus puts +1 damage on, because in the fight phase, he picks an enemy unit within 18 inches of visible to him, +1 damage for Nurgle units to target that unit. So now you will be hitting on threes, lethal and sustained hits ones on fives at strength 4, -1, 2 damage, -2 with frontless spores nearby, rerolling wounds. If you've got plague drone death heads on them. So again, just stacking these buffs to really just put the damage through. But even just a unit with a Scrivener going into another enemy unit can actually do a fair bit of work with this. It's quite nice. Next we have Fever Visions. So you pick in your shooting or the fight phase. I need to read this one again. My mind just went blank. So you pick one Legionnaires Demonic and Nurgle unit that's not been selected to shoot or fight. Is this the +1 to hit? Yes. Sorry, it says +1 to hit. My mind's gone a little bit boggled. It's the +1 to hit, and then one of the units that you hit with this, let's take a battle shock test. So it's another way to get more battle shock tests out. It's also a good way to get +1 to hit. This is quite good to bypass -1 to hit. So if your opponent has -1 to hit from, I don't know, if you're hitting something near Fiends or Nurglings or trying to think what else, there's many things in the game that are -1 to hit. Lightning fast reflexes for Eldar. This is a good way to bypass that if you're expecting that to happen. And again, another way to force battle shock tests. This goes quite well with Canker Blight. So if you're in combat, you proc this on the Bile Piper's unit, and then one of the units his units hitting are going to be within 6 inches, of course. So battle shot test, also +1 to hit. It's also pretty good on the Scrivener's unit. If you're using this with Sipping and Virulence, so now you're hitting on 2s, sustain and lethaling on 5s. It's just really, really good. It's really good on Soul Grinders, letting them hit on 2s in combat or, 2s in shooting. If they're not shooting from out of line of sight, of course. So yeah, pretty good. And then also, if you're trying to help you score things like Secure No Man's Land or Cleanse, if you're cleansing with another unit that's on the same objective, or banners, where you got to get a battle shock, a battle line unit on an objective by the end of your turn and control it. Doing this could then be the difference between you holding an objective and not holding an objective. So there's some really good uses with this. We'll go more deep into this in part 2 for the tactical demonstration, but you can really play about with this. Again, just another way to cause more battle shot tests, which I think is what this detachment really wants to do. And it's any fight phase as well. It's not just your fight phase, so you can do this in your opponent's turn, which could then mean like you do this, you battle shot the opponent's unit you've hit, and now when you come into your turn, you're going to score primary if you're on the objective with that unit that you put Fever Visions on. So just something else. I love abilities or stratagems like that where you can just kind of flip objectives or cause a battle shock test. I actually really like battle shocks, and I like that we've lent into it a lot more with this detachment. And the Sonation one has some good battle shock potential as well, and I really like that. So next we're going to look at Rot and Renewal. So Rot and Renewal is just move through walls. It's the same stratagem that all 4 detachments got. Like it means your Grand Cleamons can just go through walls. Demon Princes can go through walls. Plague Drones can go through walls with this as well. Quite good. You get them because they've only got they got a 10-inch move and a 12-inch range on their death heads. So by doing this, it means now you can hide them and still be able to get to a good range to throw your heads and then get reroll wounds on that unit. So yeah, it's good. There's nothing to say. It's less good than it is in the Celestial Detachment, but it's still really good. Next we have Merc Shadows, which I think is arguably the best strat for this detachment. So you pick a Legionist Demonic or Nurgle infantry unit, which is going to be play bearers or any of the archers if you've got them on their own. I doubt you will. But then at the same time, if the unit's been wiped out and you've got the character left, and then late game you draw an action, you can just put this on the character, which is really nice. And it can get you extra movement because it gives you extra 5 inches of movement. So your play bearer is going to be moving 10 inches, your character will be moving 10 inches. A plague bearer unit with a scrivener with a softly bile piper attached to it get +1 movement, so they'll actually be moving 11 inches with this. More importantly, there is no caveat you can't charge, so you can charge for this. This is really, really good to get a unit like to get that bile piper unit up and in your opponent's face, and then throwing battle shock tests in the beginning of the fight phase, using Canker Blight to now start just picking individual models up out of a unit. This is very good to get like a Scrivener's unit up there with their OC3 with sustained and lethal. And like I said, if you've got a character on their own and you draw, I don't know, behind enemy lines, you could put Merc Shadows on it. Now you can get into the opponent's deployment zone, maybe do something like behind enemy lines. You can advance with this as well, or you can do homers, teleport homers. Sorry, secure locus. That's the one. Establish locus. So again, an extra 5 inch movement on your play bearers, or in certain circumstances, lone characters like the infantry characters. It's really good. It allows you to get into better positions to be able to get more auras out. Like again, the battle shock aura for the Scrivener, not the Scrivener, the Bile Piper, or the -1 battle shock aura for Poxbringers. Being able to get to an objective to deny it. Just really good utility from that strat. And then the last one, we've got Demonettes, and we don't want Demonettes up there. I forgot to change that. Stratagems. We've got Plague of Woes. So Plague of Woes. Oh god. Plague of Woes. So you do it in your command phase. Not your command phase, sorry, your opponent's command phase. Before you select any of your targets for your melancholic miasma. So this is your detachment ability where you pick one of your an enemy unit within shadows and make them take a battle shock test, and then you select one other enemy unit within 9 inches of your Nurgle unit that you selected with this stratagem, and they have to take a battle shock test. So basically, it gives you a second unit to do this on. So that's really, really good. Because now, if you're in your opponent's command phase, since they will draw their stratagems at the start of it, you can then do this. If you see your opponent get, I don't know, cleanse or secure or locus or something like that, you can kind of go, cool, you've got 2 units there that you really want to do it with. Well, I'm going to do my normal melancholic miasma on that unit because they're in my shadows, and then this unit is within 9 inches of my Nurgle unit here. So boom, I'll do Plague of Woes in that unit, take 2 battle shock tests at -1. Oh, you failed both of them? Cool, no containment for you this turn. Or if you're going to do containment, you've got to do it with these 2 units you want to do damage with. So you can either completely scupper your opponent's secondary plan, meaning they can't score points, or they're going to have to use units they were actually going to use for something else to do it. And also, if they were planning on just having units come up and take objectives off you, you just go, cool, now you need to use something else or kill what's on the objective. Or another really good option for this is if it comes to your opponent about to score their primary, because obviously primary will have happened at the end of the command phase, you now have a chance to deny either one objective that has 2 units on it, just boom boom, or have two chances to just turn 1 unit's OC off, or if your opponent has 2 separate units on 2 objectives, again, just double chance to try and stop either 1 or 2 objectives from being held by your opponent. So just, again, loads of utility, just an extra battle shock test in your opponent's command phase, as long as they're within 9 of your units, which they would have to be in the shadows anyway. So it's really, really good. It's just really good, and it's another option to just get more battle shocks out there. It's also really good if you've got a unit tagged up and you don't want to see it fall back, because let's say it's got like it can fall back and do stuff, like fall back and charge or whatever. You pop this on it, it fails the battle shot test. Now, if it wants to fall back, it has to take desperate breakout tests at failing on 1s, 2s, and 3s, not just 1s and 2s. So again, they have more chance to lose models. But also, if it's a strat, if fall back and shoot, or fall back shoot charge, or fall back charge, whatever is a stratagem. Now, if they're battle shot test, they're battle shocked, they can't do that stratagem anymore. They can only fall back. And again, taking desperate breakout test, because when you fall back, when you're battle shot, you have to take a desperate breakout test. And again, at one failing on 1s, 2s, and 3s, not just 1s and 2s. So, yeah, a lot of words, but it's just really, really good. And then the last one we've got is Fetid Resurgence, which is the 2 CP strat. And it's basically healing. You do it in your command phase. You select one of your Nurgle units and you can return 1 destroyed model to it, or D3 destroyed models if it's battle line. So D3 Plague Bearers, D3 Nurglings. This is a really good way to bring back a decimated unit. Let's say you've got like 1 Plague Bearer left in a unit. Boom, you use this. Now you can get up to 3 more. That'll bring you up to 4. Say you get 3, so you get 3 back. So you're up to 4, and then you take a battle shot test in the shadows. You pass it, and then you get another 2 back. Now you've gone from 1 to 6. There's also another good way to just ignore battle shocks. Like, let's say you've got a unit of 4 Plague Bearers on an objective, and you really can't afford to fail it because you need this unit to be able to do a potential action. You need to be able to hold this point. Boom, you just put this. Now you've got another 1 to 3 guys back. You no longer have to take a battle shock test, meaning you're fine. You're going to hold the objective. Also, getting more OC on an objective by just using this is really, really nice. And then if it's a monster, you instead return D3 plus 1 lost wounds. I don't like this. I wish it was just D3 plus 3 on a monster for 2 CP. D3 plus 3 wounds back on a Ground Clean or Rotagus is not too egregious. So I don't think you're going to use this often because it is a lot of it's a lot of CP. It's 2 CP, but the option's there. In those cases where you just need to try and overturn OC, or just you can't afford a unit to get battle shocked, or maybe your Ground Clean one is on like 3 wounds and you really need him to just heal again. Here's D3 plus 1 wounds back, plus now you pass your battle shock test on a 5+ on 2 dice. Now you get another D3 back. So you can turn your 3 wound Ground Clean one into a potential 10 wound Ground Clean one just from 2 CP and a battle shock test. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely got its uses. I think the best use of it is being able to overturn an objective back into your favor, or being able to just ensure you're not going to potentially suffer a failed battle shock test when you really can't afford to. And then just being able to bring 1 model back as well means your Plague Drones, you could get an extra Plague Drone back, means an extra D3 shots, more chances to get hits to do reroll wounds on, or an extra beast. If you've got a unit of 2 beasts and you've lost a beast, boom, there's a beast of Nurgle back, deal with it. So yeah, it's got some fun uses as well, but I think the best uses will be on Plague Bearers, or even potentially in the rare places, just completely resurging a Ground Clean one back up again. And again, using it on a Ground Clean one to stop a battle shot test on him is also not terrible. So finally, we're going to look at the key units, and as you can see, we've pretty much using all of the Nurgle units, because I just think everything Nurgle benefits this detachment. Ground Clean ones and Rotagus, I think, are key. Foxbringers have a place with their -1 battle shock aura. The Bile Piper, I think Bile Piper with Canker Blight is all I take for this detachment. The Scrivener is very good, giving you OC3, giving you sustained hits with the lethal that you already have, and that pairs well with the strat for crit hits on 5s. Plague Bearers, I think you want at least 40-50 Plague Bearers. Nurglings, I love 4 units of 6, and I think again you just Nurgling gel people. Plague Drones are pretty good for this detachment, being able to just get the reroll wounds there, meaning you can just get more damage through. Beasts are really good, just drop down do action units, excuse me. I didn't put Soul Grinders here, but Soul Grinders are decent as well. And then also, I think Skull Cannons and Blue Horrors have really good places in these lists, because Skull Cannons, when you fire a Skull Cannon in the shooting phase, you pick the unit that you hit as long as you hit it, and it's like a battle shot test. you're going to have it more than likely within 9 inches of a Nurgle unit. So now it's battle shot test at -1 because it's in your shadows. So again, more ways just keep those battle shocks going. Blue horrors give you a -1 leadership aura. So having these guys, especially near a Poxbringer, so if they're in the they're going to be in the shadows. So -1 battle shot test, another -1 battle shot test for a Poxbringer, then a -1 leadership debuff from the blue horrors. Like now you're just like, cool, you're just failing battle shocks left, right, and center. And they forward deploy as well. So using 30 blue horrors with 4 units of 6 Nurglings is just complete, all the people in battle shot, battle shot, battle shot, battle shot. 6-inch aura of -1 leadership, 9-inch aura of -1 battle shot test, and shadows. Yeah, it's just trying to be really annoying, which is what this list wants to do. I didn't put change casters on here, but they do the same thing that skull cannons do, but they only do it against infantry units. So they hit a unit with their shooting attack and they force a battle shock test. Again, it's only on infantry units, but for 60 points, the option is there if you want to. So yeah, I think the key with this detachment is all about just being really, really annoying, just making your opponents like key units just do less than they want to do, like just battle shocking them, meaning they can't do actions, they can't hold objectives. You're going to be able to hold more objectives than they are, and at the end of the day, that means less primary points for them, more primary points for you, meaning you have a better chance of winning the game. Potential less secondaries for them to be able to do because they're unable to do actions because you're battle shocking them left, right, and center. It's really good when you can just see what your opponent is drawing for their cards, and then you go, cool, I know now that unit's probably going to do containment. They're within 9 inches of me, or they're in my shadows. Take a battle shock test. Oh, you failed it. Cool. They're not containing. Do something else. So, there's also just the potential in the late game. Like your opponent needs to draw like cleanse and secure no man's land to win the game, and they do it. And then you're like, shit. Okay, take a battle shot test and take another battle shot test because I'm going to use my stratagem. Oh, you failed these 2 battle shot tests. Oh, well, that unit can't cleanse, meaning they can't hold for secure, and that unit that was going to come and contest my objective here now has no OC either. Tough luck, mate. And it's just, yeah, it's just really, really annoying. It's really, really good. I really like it. I really like this detachment. I'm on my Legion of Excess kick at the moment because trying to just build that lead for the #1 UKTC spot for demons, because I'm so determined I ain't gonna miss out on it again and again like I have done for the last 3-4 years. So I wanted to build my lead, and Legion of Excess is just really good. So we've been having really good fun with that. I've got ITT coming up, which is one of the biggest, or if not the, I don't think it's the biggest. I think it's one of the biggest team tournaments in the world. Of course, I want to contribute to my team in the best way I can, so taking Legion of Excess will help do that. But once I've got like that out the way with, I'm definitely going to be testing some of these Plague Legion lists. I am starting to think, is Incursions just still better for Nurgle? And I think it might be, just because with the latest change where Denizens of the Warp now is no longer a 3-inch deep strike. Of course, it's a 6-inch deep strike, but it's lost the restriction of no charge. So now you can just drop 6 away and charge in. And I love that. It's just Plague Bearer, Plague Bearers, Plague Bearers. Like Plague Bearers are Scriveners. Like there's 32 OC, 6 inches away with a 5-inch charge because they get +1 because they've got a instrument. And it's like, cool. 5-inch 32 OC charge. Cool. Next time, 5-inch 32 OC charge. I'm just going to keep whomping on you. I've got ground clean-ones and Rodicus here. I've got crap cons and Nurglings holding you down. So Incarnation is probably still better, but this just looks super fun, and the idea of just battle shocking the shit out of your opponent and annoying them, it appeals to me a lot, which I love. So yes, that's part 1 done. The first part of the deep dive. If you want to see a tactical demonstration of how to use some of these stratagems, enhancements, and some cool ways to use the detachment ability, consider becoming a member. It's only $2.99 a month, and you don't even have to like subscribe for like long. Like you can just do it for the month, get the member stuff we already have on there, and then cancel it. Every little bit is much appreciated and it helps. And then if you're not liked and subscribed already, please consider it. If you like the content, we are like that far off 1,000 subscribers, and it would be awesome to reach our goal before our 1 year anniversary of the channel in April. So I think I'm like 24, 23 people off that 1,000 subscriber goal now. So we're almost there, almost there. So thank you for tuning in. Keep tuning in, because next, of course, we've got the part 2 of this coming out, but that's for members only. We will have the tier list for Legion of Plague with Nurgle units coming up, and then we will be focusing on the Legion of Blood, which is the one I've not been looking forward to talk about because I don't like that attachment, but a lot of people like it, and we're going to look at it. Of course we are. And then we're going to move on to doing list building stuff, and then extra content, of course. We're going to, like I said, focus on individual stratagems and enhancements and that kind of stuff, and do some list focus videos as well. We've got a lot of content. We're getting back on the content train after we've had our couple of weeks off for the new year. We're back on it. We're going to be steamrolling the content out as much as we can, and of course trying to make you better as demon players, or just trying to give you new ways to approach the faction. So thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you all in the next one.